The subcommittee will come to order. I now call up panel 2. Since your written testimony has been made a part of the record, the committee will request that you limit your oral testimony to 5 minutes. Mr. Aguilar, you are recognized for 5 minutes.
Member Crawford, members of the committee, thank you for inviting me to testify today to share our vision of high-speed transportation. My name is Carlos Aguilar, CEO of Texas Central, the most shovel-ready rail project in the United States today. Texas Central is a transformational project. We will link the 4th and 5th largest metro areas in the country, separated by 240 miles, which is right in the sweet spot of high-speed rail. These are the only 2 metro areas in the United States that grew by over 1 million people each between 2010 and 2020. Most travel between them is an I-45, a congested road with the highest fatality rate per mile of any highway in the country. We need solutions, and we need them now. Texas Central is a traveler safety program. We will save at least 800 lives during the life of the project, moving passengers to our train and taking thousands of cars off the road. Our technology has transported over 10 billion passengers without a single accident or fatality. Texas Central is a jobs program, generating over 17,000 craft jobs in Texas and 20,000 supply chain jobs across 37 US states. At the core of this is the Business and Workforce Opportunity Program, our version of Build That Back Better, created 3 years ago to develop small, rural, minority, women, veteran, and disabled individual-owned businesses. Every contract we sign sets specific inclusion targets, the highest ever attempted in heavy construction in the United States. Texas Central is a climate change program. It will eliminate over 8 million tons of CO2 emissions during its lifetime, the equivalent of shutting down 7 large power plants for a full year, reducing air pollution near roads that impact communities of color most. We will also use less land. In fact, our 205 mile per hour train requires 28 times less than a new highway. Texas Central is a global competitiveness program to leapfrog past China and other countries in high-speed transportation by bringing the safest, most efficient rail technology to America today. At the same time, we will support American suppliers to build a new industry, injecting over $12 billion into American jobs and products. For example, we will buy 1,100 miles of rail and a total of over 1 million tons of American steel. Texas Central is focused on all Texans, connecting 2 vibrant metro areas, but also bolstering rural communities by creating high-paying jobs, expanding first responder and healthcare capabilities, and providing new services such as broadband internet. Our investors have contributed $700 million so far with no federal or state money. Funds from 22 Texan families looking to leave a positive legacy for the state, other American investors, and our close ally, Japan. This is paid for the permitting and de-risking of the project. We have obtained major regulatory approvals, completed ridership studies, advanced engineering, and attracted expert companies to execute the works and operate the system. We have secured the station sites and other land for the project. This is why we're ready to get shovels in the ground to help transform American transportation and to fulfill the promise of high-tech jobs for the new economy. The direct cost of construction will be $24 billion. Total cost will depend on funding sources, interest rates, risk premiums, and other factors. The funding plan includes participation of banks from Japan, Italy, and Spain, alongside potential support from USDOT, which we aim to secure. At Texas Central, we are honored to have bipartisan support of mayors, legislators, and other elected officials, including Houston Mayor Sylvester Turner, Dallas Mayor Eric Johnson, Fort Worth Mayor Betsy Price, to name a few. Without the vision and strong bipartisan support of leaders like Congresswoman Eddie Bernice Johnson, Congresswoman Kay Granger, Congressman Colin Allred, and Congressman Seth Moulton on this committee, this project would not be ready to go today. On behalf of the entire Texas Central team, I would like to thank this committee for its efforts to assist projects like us in accessing the RIF program and other high-speed rail initiatives. We look forward to working closely with all of you, the USDOT, and the Federal Railroad Administration to make this a reality. Thank you very much.
equity in rail is one of my top priorities as chairman of this subcommittee. I wanted to be sure that your projects will benefit underserved communities and offer a fair shot at contracting opportunities for minority-owned businesses. To the panel, how will your projects take equity into consideration, and how do you plan to give minority-owned businesses a fair shot at contracting? I'll start with Mr. Aguilar.
Mr. Chairman, as I was saying, we have very clear targets for set in each contract that we sign. And these are very specific. They are coordinated with the city of Houston for the southern part of the alignment and the city of Dallas for the northern part of the alignment. The targets are 34, on average, 34% inclusion targets for construction and 24% for professional services. So that gives you a sense of how much of a priority it is for us. Number two, in terms of equity for rural communities, I mentioned in my statement that we will provide some additional services, broadband being one. Our plan is to have broadband alongside our alignment for up to 30 miles on either side of it.
I know you could probably build a Hyperloop on a highway interstate median. You could put, it can go underground, it could go underwater, it could go above ground. You don't have any grade crossings. You don't have to worry about animals getting in the way. It's adverse to weather. But I also understand that the technology is not as proven. But outside of that, what would prohibit, I mean, if you're looking at high-speed rail, why aren't you, or mass transit, why wouldn't we be looking at Hyperloop as the first technology to look at, or the future technology? Mr. Aguilar, you might take a shot at that. Mr.
I would start by saying, short-term needs need short-term solutions. And as I said in my testimony, our market here down in Texas is already congested, very congested, needs solutions to be offered. Our cost per mile, by the way, is about $62 million a mile for the civil infrastructure. But that is because we have built a system that has 50% of this on viaduct. And this is to address concerns to reduce impact on landowners and so on. But that's the main reason why.
Thank you,
Our
Madam
next speaker is Representative Eddie Bernice Johnson. You have 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, and I thank the committee leadership for calling this hearing. I was very pleased to have Mr. Aguilar from Texas Central with us today, and really quite aware of all the activity and all the attention that has been given to all the people along this whole route of Dallas to Houston or Houston to Dallas. And today, 16 million trips are made between North Texas and Greater Houston region annually. 90% of these trips are made by road, leading to significant congestion along Interstate 45 between these two regions. Travel time along this corridor can exceed 5 hours and are expected to exceed 6.5 hours by 2035. With the economy of Greater Houston and North Texas expected to grow at 1.5% per year until 2050, almost twice the national average. Trips between these cities are projected to top just over 34 million journeys in 2050. This growth will undermine mobility in the area, degrading our air quality, impacting roadway safety, and stifling economic growth. Preventing the negative impacts of this project congestion is one of the reasons why I'm a strong proponent of Texas Central Project. It will provide faster, safer, and more environmentally friendly mobility option in connecting these two economic giants of Texas. It will also be the first true high-speed rail system in the US, covering 240 miles in 90 minutes. So this project will not only create a large number of jobs for constituents, but also provide a new 21st century mobility option between the nation's largest metropolitan areas, Dallas and Houston. While this project is vital in the area that I represent, it is critical to transforming the nation's transportation network and strengthening our economic competitiveness. It is truly one that ought to be considered. And I'm delighted that Mr. Aguilar, the president, is here today. And I know that we've heard a lot of testimony from him. I've been a witness that they have worked this entire route from Dallas to Houston or Houston to Dallas, dealing with individuals, property owners, and all the like. Now, what I'd like to ask Mr. Aguilar is whether or not they are really committed and taken any kind of steps to be sure that it will be also inclusive. We know that this is going to be rural, lots of minorities and women along the way, and it will take a lot of workplace training. So I'd like him to comment on some of the things that have been planned for this route as we begin to take this extraordinary step to improve travel and the environment.
Thank you, Congresswoman. And yes, absolutely, you have my commitment and our company's commitment to that. And as I said, we started working with both the city of Dallas and the city of Houston on establishing the goals and set the targets for inclusiveness. That we also added rural businesses as part of the definition of inclusion. And that was intentional. Ensure that we have a broad impact along the whole route. And it was as a result of all that planning that we are including specific targets to each of the contracts that we sign. And it has not been easy. I have to be very honest with you. This is not normal practice for the industry. And we've had to ensure that everybody buys into the program. And by the way, all contractors are. And that is the benefit of executing this in a concerted way. So it's the planning and it's a coordination with public officials and aligning an interest and knowing that this is priority for all.
Well, thank you very much. I've been aware of a lot of the activity. I've participated in some of it. I look forward and hope I can live to see the fruition of this program. That the city of Dallas is very interested in a multimodal downtown terminal, and I just wanted to have a little comment on that.
We're actually coordinating in the planning of that plan, which actually started with coordinating meetings at the end of last month. It would be located right across our station, and the idea would be to connect directly to DART there and ensure that the transfer to passengers to Union Station as well is included, so that we are, physically connected to the rest of the network.
Thank you very much, and thank you, Madam Chair. This is my 29th year on this committee. And my major goal when I started was an intermodal seamless transportation system around the North Texas area. And I think this is one of the things that will complete it. Thank you very much, and I yield.